so that if I want to break my thread, what I'm going to do is apply pressure down. You can see I'm really flexing the hook. This way I grab my thread and I'm pushing down in both opposite directions so I can break my thread, and you can see I broke it too efficiently. Hi, Lou DiGena here. Today I'm going to talk about thread control and a few knots in fly tying. First, we'll start with our jam knot, where we're going to basically overlap our thread onto our tag piece. In this case, right now, what you're going to see, I'm going to hold it at an exaggerated angle and use that angle to guide my thread along there, getting nice touching turns. When I want to break my thread or cut it, whereas if I don't want to go down for my scissors, I apply downward pressure and then upward pressure and break my thread. Just saves me a step. Is it necessary? Not really. You can reach for your scissors. I'm not one to keep my scissors in my hand. Just never got comfortable with it. A lot of tires don't do it, but a lot of tires do. So whichever works for you, use that and do that. Okay, so at that point now I can keep going. And you can see every time I'm turning, I'm actually flexing the hook. I'm also letting the thread come out evenly. Now, if you look at what happens is the thread is starting to cord up. If I basically bring this up where you can actually see it, if I let it go, let's get it to a spot where it will actually spin. I'm going to back up a little bit. Still have it cord up. Whereas if I let it go, you can see the thread is spinning counterclockwise. So what happens is every time I take a wrap, I'm putting a quarter twist into that thread, cording it up even more. And as I keep going, it's just going to constantly cord up. So a lot of times if we want a flat body, I will spin it until I see it flatten out. And then I can go down to, in this case, where I'm going to finish dressing this hook to approximately where I think the barb would be on this barbless hook. So that's roughly where the barb would be. You have the upturn. You figure what, about 1/8 of an inch, give or take, is where the barb would be. Now, I have a nice even body here. And so a lot of times you can sit, when you want to get materials to hold in steady and really grip, what you can do is at that point I'm going to actually cord my thread, and I'm spinning it clockwise, right, getting a really aggressive cord. And now if I do an open spiral upwards, I can actually see the ribbing kind of effect that I'm getting. I'm going to leave it here, let it spin. And so now I have something that basically will have bumps and catch whatever material I'm going to lay on top of here. Now it doesn't have a smooth platform, it has a rough platform, which means it'll have a lot more grip when I apply my material on top of that and my thread wraps on top of that. So if you need to have more grip to hold material, let's say you want to hold your tailing material and you don't want it to pull out or slip, that's a good way of doing it. Cord up your thread on your advance, introduce your tailing material, and now you can flatten your thread or let your thread go all the way to the back and tie it in, and now you have a nice bumpy underbody, so to speak, that's going to grip and grab that. A lot of times we need to save our work, and to save our work we're going to do a half hitch. In this case I'm just going to use a half hitch tool, and I'm going to loop it around. You can see I've crossed my thread so that now I got an X over here, and I'm just going to bring it over and do a half hitch. If I wanted to do it with my finger, I'm going to do the same thing, bring it over, but now what I'll do is I'll take my middle finger, grab it from behind so that it will not undo. So if I let go, it's not going to grab anywhere, but if I hold my middle finger there, I can now have that half hitch grab into place. So basically I'm going to come in, form a cross, in this case keep my tension so I can get my half hitch. Let's say I'll put it a little further back, put it where I want, hold it in place, and my half hitch is there. So I can put a half hitch in any spot, hold it, and it'll go exactly where I want it. So if I was going to finish my fly, a lot of times we would finish with 1 half hitch. Keep better tension this time so we can slide it right into place. And then if we wanted to do a similar to a whip finish, we can put 3 half hitches in place. Let me do that again. 1, 2, 3. And now slide those down. And so what ends up happening is I have 3 half hitches, which is similar to a whip finish. In a whip finish, we would use a whip finish tool. And a lot of videos will have you come in, hook it, spin it, and what's the hard thing to comprehend, especially as a beginner, when you're hooking it, you don't want this tool to spin. So you're holding it with your thumb and forefinger so it doesn't spin. Then once you start positioning and moving away, you want it to spin and come over, forming basically an upside down 4. You can see it's going to cross over, and then I can take my tag end, I can make my triangle bigger or smaller, and just then go from front to back and let it loop off of the bottom and bring my tool down, and I have my whip finish done. What I like to do that sort of makes it just a little faster is I trap the whip finish tool between my index finger and my middle finger, lay it on top, now come over and then grab. So I have a little more control. Still, I'm going to form that upside down 4, and I'm going to go to the top of my vise so that I get that exactly where I want, get my first one, and then I can make it larger or smaller as far as my triangle, let it pop off the bottom, and now just easily slide it down. I'll do that one more time. I should also mention I can see that my thread's cording up. If I really wanted to have a really smooth head, what I can do is spin my thread counterclockwise, even sometimes take it and take the bobbin, I should say take the whip finish tool and hold it down so that I can pull out any of the twist. I can actually even come straight down and then let my bobbin spin. So now my thread is fairly flat. Come over, form my upside down 4, get my first one in place, and so then I can make it larger or smaller, which just basically means that if I have it really too small, I'm only going to get 1, maybe 2 wraps. If I have it a little bigger, I can then go to 2, 3, 4, or 5, let it release, come down, and lock in place. There's also the hand whip finish, which the way I've learned is that you're going to take your thumb and forefinger, I should say thumb and forefinger, my index finger and my middle finger, lay it on top, spin it, and then when I get that, I'm going to, you can see I'm down, facing me, and then away from me, and basically I have that 4 again. And at that point, I'm going to come down and up, down and up, down and up, doing exactly what the tool does. Now what I can do is take my index finger and then just pull and get it right into place, or I'm going to bring my 2 fingers on top, get it to where I want it, hold it in place this way it doesn't move anywhere. Take, in this case, a needle, bring it down and slide it right into place. Hand whip finish is great for larger flies, sometimes when you're get thicker thread or you don't have a tool on hand. But in the winter time, if your hands get dry, the whip finish tool really works well and allows you basically to apply that whip finish exactly where you want it and not worry about little burrs that are on your hands, on your fingers, that could catch the thread and then fray it. At the end, when you're ready to seat your knot, I'm just going to bring my thread up. I'm going to pull down. You can see how much I'm flexing. I'm going to flex that down and then come in and give a good cut if I can get there. And in that case, I got a little bit of excess off of that, which I will try to snip at, which I did. So hopefully that helps you. There are a lot of videos out there, how to whip finish, how to work your thread. Finding the one that works for you is the one that is the most useful, and getting other people's opinions or other people's ways of doing it, one will connect. So there are a lot of good resources out there, and the one that connects with you is the one you should use. Hope that helps. I have a more precision tool. Now, if I have my tool set up so that it can go over my hook eye, if I have materials crowding my hook eye, I can use the Half Hitch tool to push those materials out of the way. I'm gonna pause because my dogs are barking.